Welcome to Strip Coverlet, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Ford, and we are here for a video which will take place in two separate playlists here on the channel. Number one, obviously being the poetry discussion playlist, now well over 300 videos strong. And number two, being the Emily Dickinson playlist, a playlist which is, I'm not going to be able to get there in due time, but ever growing nearer 100, 150, I don't know, poems long, but we're here for a poem. This will be the first time I've ever talked about this poem. This is a poem that I've read only a couple times before, and it's one that never really communicated with me. And today, I sat down, I said, I'm going to figure out something with this poem. One word. One word was all it took. I'm lost, if I'm lost now, by Emily Dickinson. If I'm lost, now that I was found, shall still my transport be, that once on me those jasper gates blazed open, suddenly, that in my awkward gazing face the angels softly peered, and touched me with their fleeces almost as if they cared. I'm banished now, you know it, how foreign that can be. You'll know, sir, when the Savior's face turns so away from you. So, for me, where this poem starts to make more sense is right here. Banished. And if you put banished in conjunction with the Savior's face, I think it's almost impossible not to conjure some image of Cain, the mark of Cain. And Cain is one of these characters in the Bible that is tragic, so tragic. Cain was making a sacrifice to the Lord and just didn't get his way. His brother, Abel, did get his way. Furious that his sacrifice was not being recognized, Cain murdered Abel. Probably the wrong reaction, but that's what happened. We have here our speaker casting themselves basically as Cain. We have our speaker here casting themselves as the one who has been banished. But here we have a lot of contradictory emotion in this second stanza. That in my awkward gazing face the angels softly peered, and touched me with their fleeces, almost as if they cared. If I'm banished, now you know it. How foreign that can be. You'll know, sir, when the Savior's face turns so away from you. What makes our speaker's face awkwardly gazing? Our speaker here has cast themselves not just as the banished, but also as an outsider. As an outsider to whatever these relationships in this poem are. Our speaker is, after all, not cared about by the angels. Almost as if they cared, right? Touched me with their fleeces almost as if they cared. That's an interesting dynamic. That is our speaker saying that no, these angels, they do not care about me, but they cared enough about something or someone to put up the show that they did care. If this, for example, so this poem feels very much like a metaphor for the scorned lover. Feels very much like the metaphor for being living in the wake, the aftermath of a breakup. You have lost your boyfriend, your girlfriend, the life that you had lived together. That is no more. That's how this poem feels to me. That is what the metaphor at the bottom of this feels as if it is to me. We broke up, or I made the move and you said no, and now I am the subject of ridicule. And these angels, our friends, had so mockingly, not mockingly, but mockingly, pretended they cared. They want to be there. They want to scurry around you. They want to comfort you, almost. Because really, they want the juicy details. They want the things that went wrong. They want you to narc on your ex. But here's where this poem really takes a dastardly turn. I'm banished. Now, you know it. How foreign that can be. This little turn of phrase, how foreign that can be, suggests that our speaker is used to this type of banishment, is used to this type of loneliness, is used to this type of othering, being othered. How foreign that can be. This suggests that our speaker has experience with this quandary. You'll know, sir, when the Savior's face turns so away from you. What is it that makes our speaker so positive that whoever this sir is will be turned on by the Savior? And who is the Savior? Now, it's maybe an exercise in futility to try to cast this in Emily Dickinson's life. That's not what I'm here for. Oh, it was Jonathan Neighbor. It was whoever. It was Miranda next of kin, right? That's not what I think it's. I don't think it's really profitable to ever dig into a poem in that way, that biographically. But here we have one of the greatest minds of American letters, Emily Dickinson, telling us about these dynamics. We owe it to ourselves to listen. Why is our speaker so convinced that whoever we're talking about will also be forsaken? Is this not the nature of friend groups? Is this not the nature of social circles? Our speaker here, seemingly having had experience with this process, seems to be okay with it. How foreign that can be. Banishment. So in the more ancient you get into the Abrahamic religions, the idea of the bad afterlife, the punishment in afterlife, when you really boil it down, there is much gnashing of teeth, but really it's sort of summarized as simply being separation from God. The discontinuation of that relationship with the Creator, here noted as the Savior. That is hell. Separation from God. That is as bad as it gets. Here we have our speaker just saying how foreign that can be. You know, you get banished and it feels kind of funny at first. You'll get over it. I've made a big deal about loneliness in Emily Dickinson's poetry. I have a video called Emily Dickinson's Darkest Poem. It's a poem about loneliness. We have our speaker here just so subtly accepting loneliness that it's certainly not the subject of this poem, but it's something that is so obvious when speaking about this poem that it's almost impossible to ignore. Something that is so strangely present without being noticed. That comfort with separation. That's all I have for this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. And if you find yourself here by chance, but not design, literature is the only thing that I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos per week. There's poetry every Monday. We're currently going through, poem by poem, through all of Sylvia Plath's poems, as well as the Fincavigia edition, all of Ernest Hemingway's short stories in order. We just finished up Dubliners by James Joyce. So if these are things in which you might be interested, consider finding those playlists on the channel as well. And I hope to have you back for the next one.